They came unannounced, unseen by any satellite or any observatory on Earth. 1 second we were blissfully unaware of any other life in the universe, and the next, their fleet was already in orbit. To say that people panicked would be an understatement. Emergency meetings were held by every government around the world, as looting occurred in every major city. Ideas were thrown around from unconditional surrender to a preemptive strike using everything we had in stock and the kitchen sink. As the discussions went on, they spoke. Their first words were transmitted in all languages to every piece of technological equipment on Earth, able to display an image or make a sound. Radios, phones, TVs, everything. If you had a smart fridge, it was there too. They didn't ask for our unconditional surrender or declare our extermination. They congratulated us. Apparently we were one of the few species that didn't try to blast them on sight when they tried this before. The jovial tone was shocking enough, but their next words were even more so. They said we were now a part of their galactic empire, and will be slowly integrated into it. We were unaware at the time that they spoke of it as a fact, not a demand. They didn't invade, guns blazing, raising a few cities to frighten us. They really simply waited in orbit, doing seemingly nothing but clear the space trash around Earth. They had time. This inaction emboldened a few countries. The Chinese government was the first to act, but even they weren't so suicidal as to launch a full-on nuclear strike against a clearly technologically superior enemy. Yet. They planned the launch of a single intercontinental stealth missile from a deserted part of India, aiming at a vessel that would enter a collision course with Western China should it fall. Best case scenario, the missile worked, brought the spaceship down and they could pilfer its technology. Worst case scenario, India would take the blame. It was a seemingly perfect plan for them, except for one thing. The 42 tons, 92k pounds missile never lifted off. Its insides were seemingly fried by an extremely powerful yet localized EMP, or something else we had no idea about. Anyway, it wasn't long before another transmission from the aliens. They laughed at the plot, once again congratulating us for our ingenuity, like a parent laddie scolding a child that tried to be sneaky. The government officials responsible didn't get away unscathed either. These CCP members saw their bank account hacked, and their money scattered in thousands upon thousands of shell accounts, before being redistributed randomly to the Chinese population. Of course they cried outrage about it, but no one cared about them at the time. More pressing matters were happening after all. The aliens sent another message. After a month of adaptation, when heads were cooler, we were finally ready to make a choice. Join the Empire or not. Yes, you heard that right. Every individual could simply go on with their life or pledge allegiance to the Empire. If they desired to do so, they simply had to say so near any recording electronic device, and it would be a done deal. Same thing if the leader of a country wished for their country to join. Not many people joined at first, but some did. The promise of stable lives helped convince the ones that were not doing so well. Most did it in secret, fearing to be seen as traitors against their race like the more vocal alien partisans were. Simple whispers in an old phone. Yet it wasn't long before the results were seen. The traitors saw a stipend appear in their bank account, or a bundle of essential items such as food and medicine for those that live without one. Opportunities seemed to appear around them as well, as if their luck was through the roof. A wife would find a text message proving her husband was in fact not cheating on her, cancelling the divorce. A poor musician's recordings would find their way to an executive in a producing agency, launching their career, and so many other examples. People on their deathbed that pledged allegiance disappeared overnight, coming back in the morning from seemingly nowhere, standing firm on their two legs. It wasn't to say that they were overly benevolent. Their gifts came with a certain amount of responsibilities. The new Empire citizens were punished as much as they were rewarded. Con artists and corrupted politicians would have their savings drained. People responsible for assaults were deposited, bounded in front of a police station, with incriminating recordings, and some people suspected to be responsible for rape or murder were simply never seen again. After a dozen years, more than 20% of the population integrated with this new empire. Governments tried to stop people from joining at first, but it didn't work. In most countries, the people themselves were protesting to keep their newfound wealth and stability. In more dictatorial countries, the usual bank account drainage usually calmed even the most heated officials from performing drastic actions. Then it happened. The first government capitulated and decided to join the aliens. It wasn't one of the big ones either. Some probably didn't even know it. It was Bulgaria, a small Eastern European country. Overnight, every citizen of the country became part of the empire. They received a Bill of Rights and Duties. The government now had a direct line of communication with aliens, and they were expected to keep leading their people in good faith. They didn't receive any groundbreaking technology or powerful weapons, only information about numerous small, precise reforms that would help bolster them. Yet the country steadily improved in many ways thanks to them, like several small rivers converging into a powerful stream. Their GDP skyrocketed, and they became a major player in the European Union. Seeing this, more and more countries joined in a fear of missing out and be left behind by their neighbours. Even some radical Middle Eastern countries joined when they realised that the countries inside the empire couldn't be invaded, the war machines such as planes and tanks of the offending country being targeted once again by a powerful EMP blast. Finally, after more than 30 years, more than 90% of the population was now part of the empire. When asked about their slow method of conquest, the aliens replied with an Earth quote from World War II. "When you try to conquer a world, you have two choices. Rule it by fear, and keep conquering until an unavoidable rebellion, or treat it like a princess, and wait for it to fall for you."